Motorcycle Museum. This thing is loud, rowdy, and fast. This bike won the editor's choice at the Daytona Beach Motorcycle Show in 2015, and you can see why. It's just a total conversation piece.
I was born to travel, feeling like Slash in front of the chapel. I'm lean back with the Les Paul. Spill dressing on the vest at the festival, the best of all. Had a midget Puerto Rican at my beck. 10 days straight up in the mountains. Started running with the stallions, playing frisbee in the West Indies. Did the tango with my kid.
My pants right off.
Back there.
Oh man, blew pants right off. I absolutely love this bike from the minute I set eyes on it. It's a fantastic machine. Based on a 1974 Harley Davidson XLCH. The XLH stands for competition hot. Harley Davidson designed this motor in 1957. This is the classic iron head. This is the 1000cc version, 1974. Still a right side shift, 4-speed transmission, close ratio transmission. It's rated for about 60 horsepower stock. This bike has an obscene amount of time and money invested into it. So this XLCH 1000 originally was Harley Davidson's racing version, and it is absolutely the best bike to turn into a cafe racer that Harley makes. This is a 74, it's an antique. like I said earlier, right side shift. This was originally built by Armin Bassett and his son from Johnston, Rhode Island. I have the registration here. It's registered until 2019. So it does have a valid registration, so you'll be able to register it wherever your state is. Connecticut's a non-title state for antique, so it doesn't have a title, but it does have the previous reg. Armin and his son are known, if you go to Jap Bike Mike's, the big Japanese bike show, they're have got a reputation for building some of the sickest Japanese sport bikes. That, as an example, taking an RD 400 and putting it in a modern bike chassis. And they wanted a challenge to build it. Armin Sr. wanted to, the dad, he wanted to build a American bike to pay homage to the American racing heritage. So he picked this bike. This is a 74 matching numbers, original X8 LH1000, and they did a complete frame up on the bike. He had estimated somewhere in the area of 320 hours labor and a little bit over $2,000 in parts he had put into the bike. I'll go over with you exactly what he did to the bike. Again, this was a frame off. That means it came right down to the frame. The engine came out of the frame. The frame was sandblasted and painted. And then the engine was completely dismantled. He actually put the engine's completely rebuilt. If you come around this side here, Kenny, you'll see it has new cylinders, brand new cylinder jugs on here along with the bolts. So it was taken right down to the cases. The primary came off. Everything in the primary was rebuilt along with a new clutch, packs, fiber, and metal plates and springs. The starter was rebuilt, so it's electric start. The entire engine is brand new from here up. The cylinders, the pistons, the valves, and valve train was completely rebuilt. New plugs, new coil pack, brand new battery. So basically you have a brand new engine here. He did put about 1,000 miles on the bike. He estimated. He didn't ride it much. You know, he's an older guy and works full time. Does this as a labor of love. It took him a little over 1 year to build this, nights and weekends. So he had about 320 hours into it. The one thing that I want to point out to you, this is a one-off Harley Davidson factory racer style seat that Armin built. He actually had to make the mold for the seat and hand build this seat. So he had a ridiculous amount of time just in the building. You'll never see another one like it. I had mentioned earlier, I don't know if you heard, but I had said this bike won the American Iron Editor's Choice at Daytona Beach during Bike Week in 2015. We put about 40.5 hours of labor into the bike. Armin rode it about 1,000 miles. We wanted to change a few things to it. I'll go over over with you in a moment what we did to the bike. But again, the engine was completely rebuilt. The valve covers were painted. The engine block and the side covers were painted. It has a brand new Sportster decal on this side of the engine. The other side of the engine was painted. So the entire engine was rebuilt and cosmetically restored and then put into the repainted frame. Brand new custom seat. The shocks these are from the UK. These are, I've been using these myself on pretty much all the custom builds that we do that are $5,000 and up. They're reasonably priced. They look like a set of Oleans, but they're not. They're nitrogen charged gas shocks made in the UK. They work fantastic. They're longer than stock, so you have a nice ground clearance and plenty of suspension here, and the thing handles like a dream. So the rear suspension is brand new. The front forks were completely dismantled. The fork lowers were repainted. The steering head bearings were repacked. The handlebar mounts and the eyebrow for the headlight were painted. The entire wiring system, Armin handmade the entire wiring system on the bike. Brand new throttle cable. We put on the built-well grips, the throttle cable, and the brand new Mikuni carburetor. It had the original carburetor on it, and we couldn't get it to run quite right. So this is the hot setup. This is very similar to the XR750 carburetors. It's a Mikuni, round Mikuni carburetor. It's a brand new carburetor and intake. We put this whole system on here, so and it's completely dialed in, so the thing runs beautifully. The bike's fast. It has was originally rated for over 60 horsepower at the factory. These headers are hand-built headers. Armin made these headers from scratch. This is not something you can order out of a catalog. You can see the welds on here. You can see that was obviously handmade. This is a Harley Davidson cover, custom painted black. The starter and the generator are painted black. Sets are custom handmade rear sets by Armin. They work beautifully. The right side shifter is now reversed, and it's a cafe style where it's 1 up, 3 down, the opposite of normal shifting, which is 1 down, 3 up. It's in a road racer or cafe style setup. The bar peg seat relationship is excellent. I'm 6'2", but it'll fit a wide range of riders. The oil tank is completely refurbished and repainted. It has a brand new battery on there. The gas tank was completely refurbished. Inside, it's clean with the Metal Rescue product. It's super clean. It has a brand new fuel petcock, brand new fuel lines, and a custom paint job. These are the Harley Davidson corporate colors, corporate racing colors, orange, black with a white pinstriping. It has a #1 logo on the tank. Just a fantastic bike. This is a new Sportster logo on the front of the forks. The forks were completely rebuilt. New heavy-duty springs, like a performance set of springs to match the rear shocks to keep the ride height higher, along with the new fork seals, new fork rubbers, and the lowers were painted to match. Front fender is modified. It's shortened. Again, Armin and his son did a lot of fabrication on this bike. The seat, the exhaust, the front fender, the rear sets, all handmade stuff. The brake system is completely upgraded. This is a Japanese disc brake setup with a Morris mag style. It's not a Morris mag, but it's just like a Morris mag wheels. Brand new top of the line tires, front and rear. Cafe style tires with a nice profile on them. You can see the tires still have the nubs on them. The brakes have brand new, the whole brake system was completely rebuilt and custom modified for this bike, including the disc. It's an oversized disc off of a Japanese motorcycle. It has a custom master cylinder setup right here, a road racing style, along with the golfer braided stainless lines. So a lot of trickery on this bike. A lot of really cool features you're not going to find on a normal Sportster. Again, each one of these things he did required fabrication and effort on his part and a lot of thought. The rear brake is totally custom. The rear sets are custom. The rear brake pedal is handmade. The master cylinder on the back is Japanese origin, along with the heavy-duty rear disc rotor and caliper, along with the mag rear wheel, and you can see the rear tires brand new also. So just a gorgeous bike, a real conversation piece. Again, this bike won the bike show at Daytona, so it is truly a head turner. The air filter on it, this is a K&N air filter, so that's brand new. Again, I have the registration for the bike, and I've got our work order for the bike. We put a total of 40.5 hours into it. Along with the parts, about $1,000 in parts between all the things we did to it, parts and shipping. The total was $4,729 for what we did to the bike. And let me see here. Oh, I almost forgot to point out, check this out, Kenny. On this side right here, this is a brand new custom sprocket that we had made for this motorcycle. It's a 51 tooth by Sprocket Specialties. We had a special order and specially have that cut. Brand new 530 gold chain. The gold chain is just beautiful, matches the gold shocks, and you have a brand new aluminum sprocket to go with the new brakes and tires and suspension and everything else. Also, these rear brake axle adjusters are brand new. We just put those on. Sprockets, rear axle adjuster, front and rear sprockets. The rear sprocket studs, the 530 chain, all this is brand new. We just did that. The starter for the button, we just put that on here. Armin had it in a different spot. We put it here so it'd be easier to access. That's how you start the bike, this button right here. There's a switch on, there's a toggle switch on the other side, I'll show you. And then you hit this button, that's how you start it. And this is the choke right here. That's down is on, up is off. And you can adjust the idle with this screw in the front here. It's very easy to adjust. The bike has a new battery in it. The new oil filter, new 50-weight oil in it, and new spark plugs. So we did a compression test on the bike just to double check the work that Armin had done. 150 PSI front and rear, which is perfect. We cleaned and flushed the fuel tank, put the new fuel line on it, installed the brand new carburetor, the Mikuni mechanical slide carb, the brand new K&N filter, did some work on the brake system, repaired some electrical wires, adjusted the clutch, changed the oil and filter, put the new gold chain and sprockets and chain adjusters, removed, repainted, and reinstalled the exhaust system. Installed new boat grips on it, removed the thermal starter, air cleaner, and generator caps, and painted them black. Went through the whole bike, did a major detail on it, front to back, top to bottom. The total effort that we put in the bike was 40.5 hours at $90 an hour, plus the parts, $4,729. $729 worth of work if you bought the bike and all, that's what it would cost to do. So that obviously a labor of love, and I think this should be at the start of the video. This motorcycle, when Armin and his son built this bike, they put 320 hours of labor into it and over $2,000 in parts. I just want to put that into perspective. If you paid a shop to do all this custom fabrication work on this motorcycle and paid for the parts, if you paid retail for it, 320 hours labor at $90 an hour, the total value of the labor is $28,800 plus the $2,000 of parts. That's over $30,800 equivalent cost if you paid a shop to manufacture this bike from the ground up to build it from an original 74. That's completely insane. No one's going to pay $30,000 for a 74 Sportster, but that's what it would cost if you're going to build one. So that's a labor of love. When somebody puts that much time and effort into a bike like this, it's truly something done from the heart. And we just took the bike, we put 40 hours on top of the 320. So we put just under 5,000 into it, $4,729. So if you paid a shop 360 hours labor to create this thing, to rebuild the engine, the transmission, the clutch, the driveline, the suspension, everything, custom paint, hand build the back piece here, 360 hours labor plus the parts, you'd be into it for $35,000. That's what the replacement cost. If you were to insure this motorcycle, the replacement cost value would be $35,529 for this motorcycle. And again, this is a bike that has a bit of a pedigree. It won the Editor's Choice at the Daytona Bike Week bike show in 2015. And when I saw it, I was like, wow, I knew what I was looking at. I know how much time and money it takes to do a frame off on an antique like this. And you never get back out of them what you put into them. Clearly, Armin lost his shirt on this when he sold it to us, and then we put another close to $5,000 into it. So we don't expect to recoup the $35,000 that of effort that's put into it. But we just hope that somebody appreciates the bike and it goes to a good home. So this thing is fast, loud, rowdy, and powerful. This Ironhead is a true cafe racing monster. It's been slimmed down, upgraded, and totally rebuilt from the bottom up. Easy to run, it has an electric start, right side shift, custom front and rear disc brakes, custom Harley orange corporate, orange and black paint job with orange wheels, and brand new front tubeless tire, rear tubeless tire, custom made chain sprockets, new clean carburetor, new K&N filter, on and on. We also put the new bar bushings on here. These are like rock solid. Armin must have used the original bar bushings, so we put brand new bar bushings in there. And the new Biltwell white grips, which I think kind of make a statement also. So brand new gold chain, new headlight switch, new kill switch, new ignition switch. The NADA value for a stock 74 Sportster is $8,440. This bike's been completely rebuilt from the ground up, close to $35,000 value. So I would estimate the street value of this bike somewhere between $15,000 and $17,000 in its current condition. So the reserve is set below that. We'll let the market determine what the actual value of this bike is. This bike will be sold. A portion of the proceeds will go to fund the New England Motorcycle Museum. So not only are you buying a piece of moto history here with this antique Harley Davidson Cafe racer, you're also helping support the New England Motorcycle Museum. So follow us on Facebook. Check out our YouTube channel, Kaplan Cycles. We've got if you look on Kaplan Cycles' YouTube channel, you'll see the video for the 1985 Ironhead Sportster we restored. Very similar conversion like this. That one we auctioned off. It sold for $9,500. It wasn't quite as custom as this. It was a lot of off-the-shelf parts like the tailpiece, but it was beautiful. And that bike is in a museum in Canada. A guy from the UK bought it and donated it to a museum in Canada, a modern art museum, which I thought was unique because they didn't have any motorcycles there. It was just modern art. So certainly, when I rode this bike, I was kind of kidding around a little bit there with it blowing my pants off, being so fast it blew my pants off. But certainly, not only did it blow our pants off, but whatever it sells for, we'll be losing our shirt too, just a fraction of what it cost to build this bike. So maybe I'll do a video of me riding down the street with my shirt off after we sell it. So, because it's always a labor of love, you never get out of it. You better love the bike when you build one like this, and I certainly do. I love this bike. I think it's stunning. I've always liked the iron. In my opinion, this view right here, this engine, is the best looking Harley Davidson engine ever built, the Ironhead Sportster. I have this 77, check this out, okay. This 77 XLCH Cafe Racer. which is 3 years newer than that one right there. This has an NADA value of $19,200. That's my personal museum piece. It's not for sale. But I love these Ironhead Sportsters. This is a Land World speed record holding, or actually it got beat, but it held the record for a year in the 1340 class. This went over 200 miles an hour each way. Built by our lead Harley technician, Lance Merton. He built this bike. So we're really into Sportsters here. We even got one of the new Ironhead Sportsters over there. We've got a few downstairs we're building. But this one here takes the cake as the coolest looking one in our inventory. So it's a lot of time and effort went into this thing, and it's definitely a loud, rowdy bike. But I hope it goes to a good home, and somebody enjoys it as much as we have. I'm gonna roll this badass machine into the museum. Let everybody drool on it until we sell it. So good luck bidding on this thing, and God bless America. God bless Harley Davidson.